Hello friends, this is Dr. S. Vinayak. Thank you for clicking my video. In this video, let us try to learn some medical terms which are commonly skipped while reading in the textbooks. So, I am going to explain some medical terminologies that are very important. Okay, so the first one is dark adaptation time. Remember, guys, this concept is regarding vitamin A, deficiency of vitamin A, and usually dark adaptation time is commonly seen in everybody. So the time required to produce rhodopsin in our eyes is called dark adaptation time. So let me explain you with a good example. So when a person travels from the bright light to the dim light, for example, if we go to the theaters, so in the theaters in the dim light, actually in the initial stages we can't see properly. So the way is not seen, and it is not visible that who is sitting beside us, and seat number is not clearly visible. So for few moments, few minutes, our eyes can't identify who is sitting behind us. So listen, for 2 to 3 minutes it takes time for our eyes to produce the depleted rhodopsin. So rhodopsin is a protein actually. So for 3 to 4 minutes rhodopsin is synthesized in our eyes, and after some time, even in dark light, even in dim light, it is clearly visible. So that is called dark adaptation time. So the time required for our eyes to produce rhodopsin is called dark adaptation time. Okay, so listen guys, dark adaptation time is commonly seen in everybody, but in vitamin A deficiency people, dark adaptation time increases. So increased dark adaptation time is seen in vitamin A deficiency people, because vitamin A deficiency it takes lot of time to synthesize rhodopsin protein. So this is one major important point we commonly skip in the textbooks.
Is it really very difficult even for you guys to wake up in the morning? Yes, it's very difficult to wake up early in the morning, and I want to tell you some basic reasons why this happens to everyone, and in medical terms it is called sleep inertia. Hello guys, I don't know what I was talking in bathroom, but I want to tell you something about the sleep inertia. So sleep inertia is a condition with difficulty in waking up early in the morning. So this sleep inertia has some common causes. So commonly many of us will have a habit of sleeping late in the night, for example watching movies, playing games and chatting with friends, and we all sleep 12 and 1 a.m. in the morning. So this late night sleep also is one of the reason for sleep inertia, and most of the time insomnia. So night most of the people will not have proper sleep, so this is another reason for sleep inertia. And guys, actually in the night the levels of cortisol and adrenaline will be reduced, and in the early morning while waking up it will be elevated actually, so that it will alert the people to wake up. But in some cases this concentration will not be elevated, and by that people will not have that much alertness. So this is another reason for sleep inertia, and we have many other reasons too, but these are some common reasons. And to reduce this activity, if you are getting suffered from this sleep inertia, I advise you to sleep early in the night. So I advise everyone to sleep early in the night, and before sleeping I advise you guys not to use your phones at least half an hour before sleeping, and have a good food in the night. And probably you have to have some probiotics like curd rice, and consuming some uh, what we call sprouts. So even sprouts are very good, and so these are some necessary things you have to follow while sleeping in the night. So this is about sleep inertia. And the next one, see guys, early in the morning, so I want to tell some benefits of tea and coffee. Listen guys, actually the tea leaves, so the tea leaves are obtained from Thea sinensis. It is a tea plant, and
This thiacyanasis will have a chemical compound. It's not chemical compound, it's a drug compound called caffeine. And even in coffee seeds we have caffeine, and coffee seeds are obtained from Coffea arabica. It is a coffee plant, and these two, thiacyanasis and Coffea arabica, these both coffee plant and tea plant will have chemical compounds called theophylline, or they are also called caffeine. So these compounds will increase the gastric motility, and it will be helpful for constipation. For constipative patients, this taking tea and coffee is a very beneficial habit. And see, theophylline and this caffeine, they will have direct brain stimulating activity. So early in the morning, as I told you, the sleep inertia, when we take tea or coffee, our brain activates, and it is very easy for us to perform the regular activities early in the morning. So these are some benefits of taking tea and coffee, and we also have many other benefits, and excess amount of tea coffee also has some harmful effects, so you have to concentrate even in that. So these are some basic things I want to tell regarding sleep inertia and tea and coffee. Okay, welcome back. After having a good breakfast, I came with a very important concept. So in the breakfast I had liver, kidneys and some nuts and some cereals. So okay, so why I had this? Because liver contains a large amount of copper actually. So among all the minerals like calcium, phosphate, zinc and iron, copper is also a very important mineral which is very important for physiological functions of the body. And listen guys, there are some conditions where even copper deficiency occurs. The major common symptoms for copper deficiency are demyelination of the nerves, so nerve disorder occurs, and demineralization of bones. Even bones will become fragile, and bone fractures are commonly seen with copper deficiency. And sometimes depigmentation of the skin and graying of hair is or these are the some common symptoms with copper deficiency. And sometimes cardiovascular disorders, so myocardial fibrosis is also another symptom for copper deficiency. And there are some conditions called, there are two different conditions. There is a disease called Menkes disease. So Menkes disease is associated with disruption or defects in the absorption of copper from the intestines. So this causes deficiency in copper, and that will have the symptoms as I was telling earlier. So Menkes disease is one disorder which is associated with copper deficiency. And there is another concept which is associated with excess amount of deposition of copper actually. So this is called Wilson's disease. In my earlier classes I was explaining about Wilson's disease. Actually Wilson's disease is a disorder with excess amount of copper is deposited in the tissues. Sometimes copper deposition occurs in the heart, and sometimes in the liver, and most of the time in the kidneys also. So the deposition of excess amount of copper will have severe lethal effects. So this excess amount of copper disorder is called Wilson's disease. So this is another concept about copper. So I think video is becoming lengthy, so I'll conclude with zinc finally. So likewise other minerals, zinc is also a very important mineral, and a small amount of zinc is very useful in our body. So actually zinc is very useful in synthesizing the insulin from the pancreas. So this is very important physiological function of zinc. And zinc is also useful in maintaining vitamin A. And remember, zinc is a very important antioxidant, and sometimes zinc is useful in healing the wounds. So wound healing purpose, zinc is also a very important mineral. And the next, there is a protein called guanosine which is associated with zinc. This guanosine is a protein which actually increases the sense of taste. So even in the taste sensation, zinc is also a very important mineral. And finally zinc is important in reproduction too. So these are major functions of zinc. And remember, zinc is available in eggs, it is available in meat actually, and in fish. Fish contains a large amount of zinc. Fish is a good source of zinc. So if you find this video useful, please don't forget to comment and share with your friends. Thank you for watching.